look like them Packers will be packing a lot of months up coming this season. Woo! I was like, all right, I don't even know. I was like, this game wasn't really as close as what it felt like. I mean, did the Commanders have a chance? Yeah, they have a chance, but not real. I was like, not really as the game really kept going. To be honest, I was like, they should have probably got blown out a lot more than they did. The Packers, I feel like they were just hitting on pretty much all cylinders, to be honest. And the running game, I think, is the only thing that you could really even say that they were having a difficult time in. I was like, don't get me wrong, that's not like I was like they were getting quality runs out of Jacob. They weren't getting the big runs or anything like that, but they was getting the runs that kept them always in like a good field position. But from defense to I was like to passing, they're gonna be a monster to handle. And that was even before Micah Hyde, but now you got Hyde. I was like Van Ness was out there. You been had Rashad Gary, who was just like a stack pressure like front where you could have all of them on the field at the same time, and that just enhances everybody else to where even the DBs. And I was like the Packers DBs. I was like they're not really household names now, especially Alexander not there, but you know, Valentine, and it was like getting hot back and stuff. That it's like there. I was like, it's the confidence that your pass rush gives them. I was like, the pass rush is always something to help the defensive backs and stuff like that. You know, McKinney, was coming off of a great season from last year after coming from the Giants. That I was like, they were just able to play those receivers like it was nothing. Nixon, and that's the other dude that kind of like he was balling out really a lot today too, breaking up a lot of passes and stuff like that. And I'll get to why also that they can also be confident, not just because of the pass rush, but because of the Washington team. But as far as the defensive side, I was like, even some of their linebacker with Cooper and stuff, I was like, look, everybody was just on all cylinders to where it was just like, they don't have to worry about nothing. But they were still also coming with pressure, which was the crazy thing. And I was like, to be honest, did they have to do that? No, but come on. I was like, Jaden Daniels, you don't even give him the slightest bit of a chance. No matter if it was Tunsil, who basically is like this vet dude, even though he had a whole bunch of penalties last year, and you've seen that a couple false starts here tonight, or whether it was the rookie that was just getting told the hell up the whole time, there was really nothing they could really do to like stop him. I was like, and to be honest, I was like, when they did start to figure something out, it was really kind of too late. Defense sort of had them bottled up and where they couldn't go anything. But on the offensive side, I think also more importantly is that they lost. They lost Wicks, which is crazy because that was a touchdown in and of itself that was brought back or whatever, and didn't matter. Musgraves and Kraft really was taking over the whole game with from the tight end spot. Jordan Love just make every pass just look really effortless. I'm not like even his deep ball that he missed on Golden, which is crazy enough as it seemed because he put too much air. He didn't give it enough air, and he was able to throw it. It's weird because he gave it enough air, but he also launched it too far for a dude that could run a 4.29, and he overshot him. And you got to think how crazy that is that he did that from basically like the 3-yard line. And he overshot a dude that was like 60 yards down. Like it was so effortless that pass. That's like, yeah, he had to step back and chuck it. But he still overthrew that dude. And that's crazy because normally with speedy receivers like that, and we've seen them all throughout the years, Hill, Deshaun Jackson, blah, 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 that most of them, by the time you launch it down there, they're down there to where it's like they really got a chance at the ball, but this was still like 2 yards to where like Golden couldn't even, he even tried to dive for it. It was still too far. And that's what I mean. Like a lot of Love passes are just so like flicking the wrist effortless. It's like shooting a 3-point jump shot when you hot. That's how smooth he is with it. But they're almost like I said, the run game was the only thing that was really like not explosive. And I was like, they didn't have crazy passes that were explosive, but it was big chunky yards. But let's go to the Washington side. I feel like Packers are pretty much good at golden right now. I think that while I was like, I don't think this is nothing to panic about. But I do think that this is a little bit trouble. And they lost Eckler tonight to an Achilles injury, which leaves him with Bill is his name of the running back that was so good. They got rid of Brian Robinson, not Thomas. Wrong person, wrong Brian. Which is always, you know what's always weird to me is that when teams get rid of certain players of like where they just like, you know, where it's like, oh, why they get rid of that player? That player was like their one of their two top receivers last year, or their top running back last year, or a key player for them, or it's always weird that they like lose them or they cut them or trade them or whatever like that, and then the injury happens where it's like, damn, bet you wish you had this person. Because now they're going to be looking for a running back that's going to have to come in and figure their system out and stuff like that. I was like, and I don't know who that necessarily could be, like maybe Antonio Gibson from New England, but he sort of got like a rough spot right there, but probably won't come with a damn or whatever. But I was like, but then again, I was like, running back coming down the dozen, they always figure they can plug somebody in. But which I thought I was like, I didn't think they used Eckler really at all. I was like, okay, I get this new running back, whoever he really is, as of right now. But they didn't use Eckler at all. They wasn't really doing any screens to me to really get away. I was like, I know they got Debo, so they don't necessarily need to do some of that other stuff. But I also didn't think I also don't understand why you don't have Debo and someone like Eckler, like a whole bunch of people on the field like that at the same time to stop the pass rush. Because the pass rush was getting to day and his ass the whole night or whatever. They didn't have time to pass at all. I was like, Ertz was able to eat up a solid game, but I was like, nobody else could. I was like, Noah Brown had some chances, but I was like, and they tried McLaurin a lot from the slot. I just thought that the offense wasn't really running it in by the time they did something like what they call the NASCAR packages and stuff like that. It was towards the end of the game when they needed scores and you knew it was a 4-down territory, to where it was like, okay, but by now it's a little bit too late for all this. This one of the things where it's like, everybody got hyped up about Deebo Samuels in the off season and stuff like that, and I don't think that I think he's a good player. I just think that he's a good player to go with other good. So, like, the 49ers work because it's like you had Kittle. I was like, you had Ayuk. I was like, you had Debo. You had Jawan Jennings. You got Christian McCaffrey. I was like, that's at least like 5. I was like, that's a total of 5. On the Commanders, you got McLaurin. Then you step down a bit when you go to Ertz. Then you got Debo, and I was like, I feel like Debo worked where you have a plethora of players to mess around with, some other threats as well, but I was like, I don't think the Commanders have all that. So I was like, that's what I was concerned about their offense, and I feel like that sort of showed up today where it was like, okay, we're going to just make sure that you don't have McLaurin. What else you going to really do? Debo got a little couple touches here and there, but not enough to really make a crazy impact. Like I said, Eckler didn't really come into like the second half. By then, they was already trailing. They couldn't run the ball really worth anything. They couldn't pass the ball. I was like, they showed them wasn't pass protecting, because I was like, I said, they getting their ass up, especially their rookie on the right side, which is, again, he was dinner all day. There was nothing going on. I was like, there was nothing able to open up for Jaden Daniels to even run or like do some plays off script. There wasn't nothing going for them at all. And so I was like, that's why when it was like they was always in rumors of like getting another receiver and stuff like that, but also not paying Terry McLaurin. I was like, these are some dumb decisions going on around here after the all-in type of way that they felt during the off season. Also, I was like, the defensive side, I was like, hey, they really couldn't touch Jordan Love. I was like, Jordan Love was getting the ball out pretty early. I was like, and then even when he wasn't, he had enough time to do his off-script plays and give him a little bit of time as well, too. Like, he didn't go crazy off-script like Jordan Love could do, but it was just enough for him to be like, oh, hold it for, and then and then he was able to pass it to somebody. I know. I was like that. It worked in my head how I said it. And also on defense, I was like, with defense, it's like not only could they not get the love, but I was like, they're gonna have to really have a figuring out about Lattimore, because since he got there, people been looking at him with a scope and been like, target acquired, because hey, you're the one that we're gonna pick on you, buddy. Which is crazy, because I was like, the second year dude, Stanfield from Michigan, they don't really throw at him, but Lattimore, you look like you the one getting tricked out here. And they said on commentary that maybe the injuries and stuff like that had piled up on him or whatever for the last couple of years. But I was like, yeah, he's not. Because I was thinking about during the game too. I was like, man, it's crazy. Because I was like, that's the dude that was going toe to toe with Mike Evans and being, it was like him, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander, who, which a lot of these dudes now, I mean, I was like, maybe it's the toughness that they play with, because they're not those dudes really like that anymore, which is funny because was on the Ravens. But I was like, it's just not there. Like I was like, they getting him in all type. I was like, people are beating him. People are able to take him out of plays, where they're just getting him all type of way that he seemed to be like the weak link right now. It also seemed to me that I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but it didn't seem like Frankie Louvu was in any of the pass rushes like he was last year. Maybe that's just me or whatever. Cause I was sort of like, I was like, where is he really at? I don't really, cause last year it seemed like he was always around getting to a play. So this year it's like, I'm like, is he just really just playing linebacker this year? I was like, okay, normally he's rushing past a little bit, but all right. Or whatever, but yeah, there was nothing they could do at that moment. They was getting beat deep. They was getting beat. I was like in the middle. I was like, and hey, early still in the year or whatever like that. But I think this is what everybody meant of the hesitation of giving the Commanders whatever it is. Hey, second year, everybody see more tape of you. I was like, how much is it that your quarterback was really good last year? And then we're like, you do it again without really fully helping. That's a different ball game. So I was like the Packers. I think right now, I was like, we'll see how the rest of the time goes. Obviously season, blah. But as far as all the teams in the NFC, I was like, I think they're probably the one that's the top right now. I know to beat the champs, you got to beat the champs, so you still gonna have to reserve that spot for the Eagles, because I do think the Eagles still have everything at about every spot, at least on offense. I was like, I know how Jalen Hurts can be talked about and stuff like that, and I was like, I think that he's cool, but I was like, at the same time, I was like, him, Barkley, receivers. But I was like, if anybody got the defense to try to get them, it will be the Packers, because I think they got enough. Because the thing is, with quarterbacks like that, you see with Jaden Daniels, you got to have the athletes to chase that dude around if you do try to get to him. Because he's going to break the pocket at some point. But are you going to really be able to run that fast when that one's on you? Because there was a play tonight where Jaden Daniels did get away from Micah Hyde, but Micah Hyde was on his ass so much that Jaden Daniels looked like a dude running out of a horror movie when he just kept looking behind and looking past so much that when he did happen to be able to look forward, they undercut him and got him for the tackle. Whereas I think if he was able to be I ran past Micah, I think he could have did a little bit more because he's looking this way. But if you looking back here, you can't. I was like, look, if you always looking in your rear view, you can't drive forward. And he was over here to be chased by Jason the whole time, all the time, or whatever. Or that Michael Myers. That might be Michael Myers. I don't know. I was like, I'm not really good at the horror part of it. Anyway, that would have felt like a scary movie, and Jaden Daniels was going to get got regardless. Anyway, I was like, either way, the Packers that thing, and Washington, I think they still cool. I don't think it's still nothing to trip over just yet. But I still, like I said, I would still be worried because I don't think they have anything dynamic on the offense outside of Jaden. And I was like, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't like McLaurin, but I was like, if that's your only guy, then we're just gonna just make sure he just don't beat us figured out everybody else, and I'm like, that's good until you realize no, it's not. No, it's not. Cause Debo, like I said, Debo's not really a receiver in that. He's not a receiver in that type of way. That's why I think you need a different number 2. I like Noah Brown as well too, but I was like, he's a number 3 kind of guy to me. Anyway, week 2, we're gonna see what's cracking when everybody else gets to be slotted, and we'll know a little bit more going ahead. But until then, I'm out.